Alright, now that we're kind of closing everything out here at Schneider, I have to give the thanks, proper respect to the people who've made my life easy at Schneider and everything. Not everybody is, it's not going to be exactly what you think either. So, but from day one, we had one guy that was fighting for us drivers as far as getting our account set up right, with the right drivers, with the right leadership, and then fighting for us to get the good pay that we deserved. That man's name is Kurt Fulf, and he's up there in Green Bay. He was the operations manager at the time, and one of the better bosses that I've ever had. And I've only had him for a short period of time. I didn't really work with him directly that much, but he was the real deal when it comes to being a leader. Oops, I gotta plug this thing back in. He was the real deal about being a leader. He was, and he set the standard. So when I talked to drivers that knew him and started with Masonite at the same time that I did, everyone holds Kurt to be, you know, at a high level, really respected. So Kurt, you set the standard, and to be totally honest, I don't think that standard has ever been met. So there you go. There's your thanks. Oh, I got more people though. After that, our first account manager, the guy that's underneath Kurt, the guy that's underneath the operation manager, the guy that deals with the drivers and the customers on a daily basis. That man was Stu. He was our first. And Stu also set the bar real high that, in my opinion, was never even, the following people never did even come close. Stu was the man because he got along with the customer, got along with the drivers, and when you can have a good relationship with the customer and the drivers at the same time, and with Schneider, you're going to have success. And we had success and made the best money. I made the best money, and it was and you knew you could communicate with the guy. You could go up and talk to him about anything, you know, and he listened to you. If you didn't like a certain run, you wouldn't see it as much. You may still have to do it, but you didn't see it as much. But the run that you loved, man, there was one I loved. Mountain Home, Arkansas, delivered on Wednesday. If you watch my videos, you know I've been there a whole bunch of times. When we had Lowe's, had Mountain Home, we had a store close to Branson. There was like Republic, which is by Springfield. Or there's a couple of them around Springfield. And then out towards Joplin. And I told him that was my favorite run. I love that run. It was just such a nice run. And he told me, huh. That's what he'd always do. He'd always go, huh. Most of the other drivers don't like that run. So I'll give it to you as much as I can. So I got it. And but that's not the only reason. I mean, it was just, you know, he treated everybody like that, not just me. That was just an example. The guy that was under him, which is the former driver, one of us, guy name was Dennis, and he was a former driver. He couldn't drive anymore because of the diabetes, so they put him in a desk, and he worked out pretty good. And as a matter of fact, he got promoted and went on to be a DBL. So Dennis, a lot of props to you as well. So our first leadership was Kurt, Stu, Dennis, and like I said, they set the bar way up here. And they were hard to replace. So a lot of props to those three. To the people at Masonite, were probably made things, you know, really sane for us, especially when we moved over to Mesquite, and then we had a new boss that no one really liked. I mean, I liked him, but no one else did. They kind of helped make things sane for us, kind of just help us kind of, you know, laugh. Freddie, the guy that is over shipping at Masonite, was the craziest dude. Well, he still is. He's still alive. It's not like he's dead. But he was the craziest dude I've ever... Not like physically crazy or whatever, but just the things he would say. And I've got these mental images in my head, and my mind is permanently scarred. But that's kind of what made it so cool. Man, we would get up in there and just listen to him talk. But we didn't have to say anything. And we would just pee our pants laughing so hard. I mean, it was just unbelievable things he said. But, you know, but he had a lot of character as well. It wasn't just a pervert. So, a lot of character there too. I mean, if you talk to the people who work under him, you know, they give their left nut for him. So, I mean, good folks. The people under him, like Andy rocked, Pedro, Chris, Easy, you know, he left, but Doug was a former driver. He ended up being he was a driver with Warner at Masonite. He got employed by Masonite, so he would move their trailers around and stuff like that. And so all the people at Masonite that we knew and talked to in the office, really appreciate y'all, because, you know, it kind of gave me something to look forward to when I went to Masonite, because, you know, when we got there we had to wait a lot of times, but we didn't mind because of the company we had. You know, no big deal. We knew where we're going, so why rush? So to the leadership after, you know, Kurt, Stu, and Dennis, Ken I considered a friend, but work related, I had my disagreements with him on, but I won't hound on that, because I like Ken a lot. So I will say this, as I'm watching Duck Dynasty reruns on TV over here, is that there's a book out there for you that I want you to read. Good Call by Jace Robertson. So Ken, if you're watching this, get that. I thought about you. We were sitting there at the cafeteria one time just for about 10 minutes or whatever, and I thought of I just got done reading it, and I was sitting there thinking, I need to tell Ken about that book, and I forgot all about it. So get into that. But so good luck with he got promoted and everything, so so good luck with all that. Angie Carson, which was replaced Dennis, was not the account manager, but just dispatched the trucks basically. You kind of kept everybody, you kind of was the, what do they call it, the glue, whatever. She held everything together. All the drivers and everything, kept everybody, you know, gave someone to talk to. You know, if someone had something to say, usually we would vent to Angie or whatever. And sorry if I vented a lot, but all I needed someone to listen to that understood what I was saying. And she was very open to us drivers if we had suggestions, and she was really, you know, she was there to work with us. So I was really disappointed when she didn't get a raise. I mean a raise, a promotion, and a raise, you know. But when they started making changes at Masonite, Schneider's part, I was kind of thinking she'd get a promotion, and she didn't. I don't think she did. And I was kind of disappointed in that. So if there's anybody watching out there, I think she'd get promoted. Train her to be a DBL. I think she'd make a great DBL. So, last but not least, and I saved the best for last, the drivers. The drivers is what made Masonite, besides the pay and the easy work, the drivers is what made things really fun. You know, when you went and you saw the other Masonite drivers, you know, you knew, or I knew, that, you know, it was going to be, some stories going to be told. A lot of times, some fun times to be had. From our orientation class that were still there after all the years, was 3 of us. Now I'm gone. Now there's just 2 of them. But Milton and Glenn. Glenn and I roomed together for orientation, and then we went to go get a truck up in Edwardsville, Illinois, and so we had a lot of time there at the beginning to get to know each other, and I always look forward to seeing Glenn all the time. Glenn is the guy that did things by the book. Every trailer inspection that he would do, and you'd watch him, he'd get up underneath every single trailer. And so he was by the book all the time. Where me and some others, we cut corners. I ain't gonna lie, but I don't think he knew how to cut corners. I even told him corners to cut, and he wouldn't cut them. So he's the man. Got a lot of integrity to do that. Okay. Milton was the guy that you could talk to for about 5 minutes about work and about 30 minutes about other things. You talk about work too much, and it depresses you. And so he was good to talk to about other things. So his ex-military, retired military, and been he's a truck driver, lives out of Lawton, and so my highest respect to Milton. Outside of those guys, there was a couple guys that went to Aquatic, Jesse and Tim. Aquatic is, they deliver bathtubs to Home Depots and other stores. And I may eventually go work there for all I know. But that's one of the companies I'm looking at for in the future. But those guys, I know Jesse watches videos, and actually Tim does too. So, waving the hand at you guys, I'm gone. I'm no longer employed at Schneider, just like you guys. Mark Pugh, he left about a year ago, but it was fun times hanging out with him. Little Bob, got Big Bob and Little Bob. Little Bob, me and Little Bob were out there I had to do this on another video, a war stories thing, but Little Bob was Canadian / Californian / Texan. He didn't know where he came from, but he was always good. We had to settle him down all the time. He was bouncing off the walls. He was crazy. So gonna miss him. The other Bob, I learned a lot from. Big Bob, I learned a lot from. He's the guy that I tell y'all about that's been out here over 40 years. Been in a couple of my videos, and I got a lot of respect for Big Bob. And he called me the other day on my last day. and I let it. I didn't even hear it ring. I just saw it had a voicemail, and it was him. He had just found out. Here, this is my situation. I'll probably eventually call him. I just don't like saying goodbye. I said that a couple videos ago. I hate saying goodbye. It's awkward, and I don't like it. And so that's a downfall of me, but it is what it is. So hopefully this message will get to you that, you know, Bob was probably the most respected driver that I've ever worked with. I've always respected the older drivers. I listened to his stories. Other guys my age and younger don't listen to the stories the old timers talk about. And me, I learned from them. And I learned something like last year when we started getting ice and stuff down there in Dallas area. I was like, I ain't taking this load to Springfield and driving snow and ice. I'm just not going to do it. Wrecks everywhere, drivers sliding off the road. I ain't going anywhere. I was put on the, you know, guilt trip and stuff like that, but then Bob came in right behind me and he said the same very thing, and me and Bob, and thanks to Bob, I did. I probably would have caved in if I didn't. But if it wasn't for Bob, I probably would have taken that load on the ice and I probably got into a wreck. I don't know. But having him, someone with 40 years experience, kind of back you up, saying that's not safe, dude. Stay. Don't go anywhere. When other drivers are leaving, taking that chance, taking that risk, I didn't feel safe. He didn't feel safe. End of story. You know, 40 years and he's never put on a set of chains. He's driven up north plenty of times, but I've always felt them, you know, if you gotta put on chains, it's not safe to drive. So 40 years, that says a lot. Rookies that say, oh, I'll put on chains, just 40 years, man. What can you say? So gonna miss Bob, and I'll probably eventually call him and everything, but he kind of looked out for me and I looked out for him and stuff like that, and got a lot of respect, learned a lot from him. And probably out of all the drivers, and I don't mean to, I'm sure a lot of people would probably agree with me, but that's when it's all said and done with, and I've been out here for 40 years myself, I'll look back on Big Bob over at Masonite, over at Schneider. I'll think of him as like, man, I learned a lot from that old goat, that old coot. I liked Bob a lot, and I still do. So with that, oh, one more. We got a new boss. I had a new boss. Last month I worked there. Our buddy Ken was replaced by a guy named Paul Green. I think he's going to do well. So if you're watching this, I don't know. I think, Paul, you'll do well. My only concern is that you're on a Masonite dedicated. You're not OTR. The way you push out loads is not the same. I asked you one time why I got my load one time like at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and you didn't act like it was a big deal. Okay, well, maybe he'll learn. Well, you know, a couple of weeks went by and it was the same thing. 7, 8 o'clock at night. And as far as I know, he's never changed. That's one of my biggest things. I think you make it, but allow the drivers to plan. send out load information for the next load as early as you can, preferably when you make the load. I mean, you know, like when you write down on a, you know, on that sheet of paper who gets what load, send it to their truck right then. If we have to change it, we have to change it, or if they have to change it, whatever. But that was the big thing. That will help out the drivers. So if I left my mark, maybe that's it. You know, just kind of. I think you do well. You get along with everybody. Everybody likes you, and it's just some operational things I think you have to adjust, and it'll take a little bit of time, maybe. So, but I'm not worried about it. I'm really not, because this is a 20-some-odd minute video, and I need to cut this thing off. So, all right. So thanks for watching these videos, folks. I know a lot of y'all didn't watch this video, but if you stayed around and watched these videos, or this video in particular, and you're not with Schneider, then I appreciate you. But I wanted the people up there in Green Bay to watch this video too, because those drivers, some of the best drivers we've had, Big Bob, Little Bob, Milton, Glenn, talking about guys that are still there. I'm thinking that's it from the guys that's still there. Big Bob, Little Bob, Glenn, Milton, James Bell. Okay, that's another good one. All those guys are great guys, great to work with. Really are great drivers. When I talk about camaraderie, that's it. Because I'll miss those guys. Will I miss the slow truck? No. Will I miss the ugly orange trailer? No. But I'll miss the drivers. I'll miss them more than anything. May not be the last time I see them, though. Just saying. So, with that, thanks for putting up with this 20-some-odd minute video here. And we're going to go and do this new thing that I'm looking forward to. It's a bright new future, I think. So, with that, 73.
Your tauntaun will freeze before you reach the first marker. Then I'll see you in hell.